Welcome in, Irish fans. It's Wednesday, October 13th. Notre Dame has University of Virginia at home this weekend. Now, this is a team that really hasn't been hyped up a lot and is kind of living up to the expectations of what people thought in the preseason. There were a few people, myself included, that thought that they might be a little bit of a dark horse and have the ability to go in there, create some upsets, and be a really good football team. But they've been 5-4. They're 5-4 this year. They're kind of on the cusp and seeking bowl eligibility. This team, however, is deceptively good at a few things. Number one, neither of their two running backs has more than 400 yards on the season. Now I take that back. They're just over 400 yards, 442 and 436. But if you do the math on that, that's just under 100 rushing yards total from the two running backs each game. And if you add what Anthony Calandria puts into the game, their starting quarterback, they're over 100 yards rushing every game. Now, you take a team that you think, okay, they're overall they're kind of terrible at rushing, and really, like I said, that's a little deceptive, right? That's kind of not what you expect from this team. They're also 38th in passing yards in the country. So you've got a team that, they're 86th in rushing yards, which is, middle of the bottom. But they're 38th in passing yards. This is not a bad football team overall. I mean, this is a team they've got 5 wins under their belt. They can do a little bit of damage. They've lost some games that they probably should have won. They've had some close ones. They nearly, they put up a good fight against Clemson. They got trounced by North Carolina, which I kind of look at that and say, well, was that a fluke? Did they just not play well? It was a home game. I don't know how they do that, and then they beat Pitt last weekend, which, okay, all right. Nearly beat Louisville. Close game against Louisville. Beat Boston College, Coastal Carolina. All right, whatever. Wake Forest again. They won that game by 1. So this has been a really hit and miss team this year. They're not really firing on all cylinders, but they're still dangerous. And that's something that we definitely have to be aware of, trying to finish to win out this season and go in at 11-1, solidify that home game, which I think we can do. And honestly, I think a 2-loss Ohio State, IU beats Ohio State, a 2-loss Ohio State ends up behind us, doesn't go to the Big Ten championship. So that clears that picture up pretty quickly. They can't take one of the top 4 spots. They end up behind us. IU could win. IU could win out, and that would be fine. A 1-loss IU, yes, ends up in front of us. A 1-loss Oregon probably ends up in front of us. That just makes sense, if those two teams play in the Big Ten championship. Or if Ohio State and Oregon play in the Big Ten championship and Ohio State loses against Oregon in the Big Ten championship game, we could potentially see IU and Ohio State behind us, which would give us an even better seed, because right now we've got the toughest bowl matchup if things were to remain that they are today, which they can't, right? They absolutely cannot. Tennessee is going to play Georgia this weekend as well. It's not possible for things to remain the way that they are. So we've got to take care of Virginia this weekend to make that happen, and we need to take care of them soundly. If anybody goes into this game thinking that Virginia is not a team that's going to come in and play tough, well, they're going to come in and play as tough as they can, right? Are they mentally ready? We'll see. I kind of wonder, you've got to wonder, if the North Carolina loss isn't a hangover loss after losing the Clemson game. They're coming in beating a ranked team in Pitt, and they might be thinking to themselves, man, we can beat a ranked Pitt. If they don't think we're that good because we Notre Dame are that good, because of the Notre Dame loss to NIU, they could come in believing something. And as we've all seen, a team that believes that they can win often goes on to win a football game if they're playing hard. You got to believe, and you got to put that belief into practice. So that's what we got to do, right? We got to go in, we got to believe that we are going to beat this Virginia team. We got to believe that they're going to play us tough. Regardless of whether they do or not, we have to believe that they're going to play us tough, and we got to go in and we got to play them tough. We got to play them like we're serious about getting a playoff game at home in South Bend in December. And I can tell you from talking to the fan base, that's exactly what the fan base wants. I've talked to tons of people that are like, home game in December, I'll be there. And these are people from out of town. People who fly in, people who don't want to be in South Bend in December because of the weather, but they're excited about the possibility of a Notre Dame home game in December. They're ready to get on flights and buy tickets from all over the country, from the Carolinas, from Georgia, from Florida, from California, from Arizona. You name it, they want to be here for this. And if you think the players don't want that too, well, I think you got to set up the picture a little bit differently in your head, because the players sure as heck want a home game. And by the way, what it means for the students at Notre Dame, we've moved the final exam schedule around. And we're keeping students on campus longer just to make a home game happen. Just to have students here. So everybody wants this. Everybody at Notre Dame wants this. And people are working for it. People are working really hard for it. I got to say that the thing that concerns me the most about this Notre Dame team going into this Saturday, points against, here's the pretty picture, right? Points against this team, 11.1, third in the country. I don't know who number 1 and number 2 are, but third in the country with 11.1 points. I mean, we've played some pretty good offenses this year. Now we've played some lackluster offenses this year too, but I mean, if you take what the defense is given up versus what the offense is given up, and I'm including points off of turnovers and turnovers, on our side of the field, we're probably number 1. Total passing yards concerns me. 99th in the country. Total passing yards. Why are we still there? And I know it's getting better. I know, Riley Leonard continues to improve week over week. His completion percentage is 65%. He takes care of the football. He's only got 3 interceptions. Had 2 of them against NIU and a fumble. So he's doing a good job taking care of the football, but it's still not consistent. There were 2 plays last week that if those plays had gone against a good team, both of those plays, well, one of them was a for sure interception, and the other one was a coulda, woulda, shoulda, throwing above and behind a player on a slant route in the end zone. And I've expressed concern about this all season, that he can't hit those skill passes. That's the room for improvement. That's the thing that's really got to improve. We've got to take better care of the football. We've got to continue to take care of the football. But we have to make this passing game start to click. I mean, we're at the end of the season. We're at the end of the season. We've got, 3 games left? We got 3 games left. We got Virginia, we've got Army, and we've got Southern Cal. We've got a home game, a road game back in New York, that's our Shamrock Series game. It's technically a home game. It's a home game on the road in New York, near Army's, near Army, near their school, near their campus. And it's certainly a recruiting event. And it's also, there's just a ton of Notre Dame people in New York. And then we've got Southern Cal on the road at Thanksgiving. So 3 games left. This passing game has got to get better because it doesn't feel like we're ready to take on a Tennessee or an Ole Miss or a UGA, and I'm naming SEC schools because I frankly don't have a lot of confidence in the Big Ten schools that are currently potential matchups for us or their ability to perform. Not in this environment. I do think IU and Ohio State are both, the real deal. Penn State, I don't know how they're ranked where they're at. That's absolutely mind-boggling to me, and the fact that they're still ranked in front of IU is just mind-numbingly bad. All right, that's all I've got. I'll see you all after the game on Sunday. Keep looking up. Love y'all. Go Irish. Beat Virginia. See you soon.